All right, you're welcome back from that short break. I have with me here in the building this evening Miracle Nyekazi. Miracle, good evening and welcome to Sport Extraordinary.
Yeah, good evening, Port Harcourt. Good evening. It's always nice to be here to talk sports.
All right, always nice to be here to talk sport. Of course, we start from the world of tennis. It is the Australian Open, and action continue to go around. How there are some big name players continue to take it step by step as they head to the next round of the competition. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic hopes of standalone record, the 25th Grand Slam title has been boosted after his fourth round opponent Jakob Mensik withdrew from the Australian Open with an abdominal injury. Djokovic was scheduled to face the 20-year-old Czech during Monday's evening session in Melbourne, but he will now progress straight through to the quarterfinal. He will now face either 5th seed Lorenzo Musetti of Italy or American 9th seed Taylor Fritz in the last 8. Miracle for Novak Djokovic in his first game. It wasn't a convincing start for him, but then he managed to go through. This time around, his opponent, cost of that abdominal injury, pulled out. So he did not kick any single ball with his racket, but he has progressed to the next round. Do you possibly see him continue to chase this record and get into the final, or you think with a lack of a match, maybe this is going to disturb him in the next game?
Yeah, for me, I think so far Novak has started the tournament very, very well. He's been quite good, although he's dropped some sets throughout the course of the tournament. But I think he still has an edge over his opponents because of that experience he's gathered over the years. Over the years, he's had a lot of experience winning those Grand Slams. 24 Grand Slams is no mean feat. I think he's that player that everybody wouldn't want to face at this point of the tournament, the later stages, the quarterfinal stages of the tournament, because they know that he has that edge, the experience. He has the experience, and he's done it over and over again. So playing a player like Novak at this point in time, it will be very, very difficult for anybody to get a victory over him. So I feel like even due to the fact that he missed that round of 16 game because of his opponent had to withdraw because of an abdominal injury. For me, I think it still gives him an edge because he has a lot of resting time now. He will have a lot of rest going into the next round. I think the opponent he faces now wouldn't have much rest like he would have gotten. So far, I think Novak still has an edge over the rest. For me, I think due to the fact that Carlos Alcaraz is still there, Yannick Sinner is still there, I think, but I still feel like Novak still has something to prove and he still has something to give in the world of tennis.
I'm thinking for the fact that he has he is going to have this rest because of the fact that his opponents pulled out because of injury. There is a difference between you playing a competitive game and you just training for to keep the body and soul fit. So he failed to play a game and he has moved on to the next round. Don't you think that this period of rest is going to affect his next game? Why? Because he didn't play any competitive game to get to size his opponent and get to know how far his opponent looks like.
Yeah, for me, I think I wouldn't want to agree on that because I feel this is not the first time an opponent will be pulling out in the tournament against Novak. This has happened previously in the past, not once, not twice, and Novak still going to the next game with all form, with his main form determined, and he still eventually wins those games. So for me, the only thing that can stop Novak from getting a victory in his next game is Novak if he doesn't come to the party or if he has injury worries in that particular one. But him going into this other game now, knowing fully well that his opponent pulls out, for me, I think it does not give him a disadvantage. For me, I still feel he has an advantage because he has enough time to rest and build up to the next game. He can even go to the coach and watch his eventual next opponents and know how to tackle his opponents in the next game. So for me, I feel like Novak has an edge in the next game.
All right, see, talking about having an edge, Carlos Alcaraz indeed, proved to have a great edge over his opponent. Talking about Tommy Paul as he defeated, Tommy Paul 7-6, 7-6, 4-6, 5-7 Alexander Zverev also defeated Francisco Cerundolo 6-2, 6-4, 6-4. Zverev, also got a better in that particular one. Lilia Thiem also defeated Dani Medvedev 4-6, 0-6, 3-6, while Alex de Minaur beat Alexander Public 4-6, 1-6, 1-6 in that particular encounter. For Carlos Alcaraz, the young Spaniard, is still pushing very strong. One of the favorites, right?
Yeah, definitely. Carlos has proven to be one of the top guns when it comes to the ATP right now. I think Carlos, he's racked up about 6 Grand Slam in the last couple of years now. In the last 2 years, he's won about 6 Grand Slam. And this guy is still young. He's still firing at all cylinders. I feel like Carlos Alcaraz, he's the favorite for this particular one. For me, I think he's been able to outplay his opponent so far in the tournament. He's been able to outplay his opponent even in the previous rounds so far in this tournament. And I think Carlos Alcaraz, he wouldn't have it as much difficult because a lot of experienced guys have already left the scene. But we know that the likes of Sinner, the likes of Djokovic is still in contention for this particular one. But let's not forget that Carlos Alcaraz, this guy he's a youngster, he's a superstar. He's he has the determination for him to do wonders. He's already been compared with the likes of Rafael Nadal and the big guns when it comes to world tennis at this particular age. So for me, I think Carlos Alcaraz will be licking his lips and going into this particular one, knowing fully well that this is an opportunity for him to get another Grand Slam for his name.
A great opportunity for the young Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz to write his name on gold yet again at the Australian Open. Meanwhile, still talking about some of the favorites, Yannick Sinner, the Italian, also breezed past his opponent as well. So, Miracle, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, Novak Djokovic, these are the 3 main, title hopeful. Out of these 3, which of them do you probably think has a little edge over the other? Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, and Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm a Sinner person. I prefer Yannick Sinner because of the way he plays and the way he serves, and this guy he does not the media hype is not on him the way the likes of Carlos and the rest have the media hype on them. He's a kind of quiet player. He doesn't really talk much to the media, and so I feel like him getting into this particular one, he's going into this one knowing fully well that he needs to win a Grand Slam. He needs to keep that competitiveness between him and Carlos Alcaraz. That competition, that comparison still needs to be there. So Carlos getting about 6 Grand Slams already, him getting about 4. So he needs to compete at all cylinders, making sure that he gets his 5th Grand Slam. So that competition still remains valid. So for me, I think Yannick Sinner, I'll be hoping that he just proves himself, he proves his worth for himself this Open.
All right, let's talk about the female category because yesterday, Aryna Sabalenka defeated Victoria Mboho 6-1, 7-6. While Sabalenka, also shared her thought rather shortly after that impressive victory, and she was such an excited player to go through against the young lad. Talking about Victoria Mboho. Yulia Potesheva also defeated Ivan Jovic 0-6, 1-6. While my lady Kori Kokogov also saw off Karolina Muchova 6-1, 3-6, 6-3. Elena Vitolina also defeated Miria Andreeva 6-2, 6-4. So in the female category, the big names they are still up there, firing. Vitolina, Aryna Sabalenka, also still doing the needful. Out of some of the notable names in the female category, is there any player that barely comes to your mind that you want to say, yes, this one is favored, or this one will certainly go to the final?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm rooting for Naomi Osaka because it's been a while. Yeah, definitely. It's been a while that
Naomi Osaka, I think she has lost her form, but then she's still around.
Yeah, she's still around. Let's not forget that this girl, she's a 4-time Grand Slam winner, and she has the experience. But ever since she had her child, had a lot of injury worries. She's not been able to come to the party. I've watched her in the last couple of games right now. I watched her games against Cristia, the Romanian.
Yeah.
I think she dropped a set in that one, but she was very, very astounding in that particular game. And I'm just rooting for her. I want to see her in that limelight again. I want to see her compete at all fronts with the likes of Iga Swiatek, with the likes of Arina Sabalenka, and the Coco Gauffs of this world. I want to see her in that frame of competition again. So I'm rooting for Naomi Osaka. I just hope that she'll be able to come to the party in her next game.
Hopefully Naomi Osaka can come to the party, but then I doubt, having some of the big names that have been very consistent in the last 2-3 years. Iga Swiatek, Arina Sabalenka, you talk about Coco Gauff. These are some of the notable names that she may want to, fight against to see if she can be able to bounce back to reckoning, because it's been long for Naomi Osaka after giving birth to her daughter, Shai. And coupled with some injury setback, it's been pretty difficult for Naomi Osaka to get back her mojo and to get her groove on to the peak of her career. But we just hope that in this year's Australian Open she can surprise many followers, especially her fans out there, by doing something magnificent. All right, away from that, let's head straight to the world of football and the service on the results came through in the Nigerian Premier Football League over the weekend as El Kalemi Warriors at home beat Ikorodu City 1-0. Barao FC were also held at home by Bayelsa United 1-1. Abia Warriors were beaten at home by Nasarawa United. Miracle Abia Warriors losing at home to Nasarawa United. Since Mama Pakabo came on board, I think Abia Warriors have been having some strings of a positive result, but then surprisingly, they fell to the firepower of Nasarawa United at home. Did that one come to you as a shock?
Yeah, definitely. I think Abia Warriors have been one of the top contenders for the league this season. I think they've been doing well for themselves. Coach Imama Amakabo, he has done really, really great so far. But for me, it was fortunate to see them lose in the manner they did in their own backyard. For me, I didn't see that coming, and it was a very, very, very compact game from the both teams. But that goal they just considered, they were not able to get back to their form. They were not able to come back and have an equalizer. So for me, I think it was a very, very disappointing result. They'll be going to the next game now, away game, hoping that they can carry or get all maximum 3 points from that particular one.
Still talking about some result that came through. Enugu Rangers at home beat Warri Wolves 4-2, while Niger Tornadoes beat Enyimba 2-0. Shooting Stars as well beat Bendel Insurance 1-0. Wiki Tories beat Kano Pillars 1-0, while Katsina United played zeros against Plateau United. And today, just a few minutes ago, Remo Stars came back from the dead to get a valuable point against Kun Khalifat FC. So the game ended 1-1 between Remo Stars and Kun Khalifat. Kun Khalifat took the lead in the 6th minute of play before Remo Stars, the defending champion, struggled to find their way back into the game and they managed to take a point in that game. Miracle, my concern is about the People's Elephant, Enyimba of Aba. Another defeat for them, and they are seated 12th on the log right now. Where Enyimba is seated on the log is for me a shock, because Enyimba, don't forget, one of the strong side in the Nigerian Premier Football League, but then their start so far this season has been very, very disappointing, and the result is not looking as though it's going to change anytime soon. Where is the problem coming from for Enyimba? Is it about the management or about the players not giving their all, or you think the coach is not doing his best?
Yeah, for me, I think the problem is not just on the players or on the coach. I think Enyimba has an internal issue. Let's not forget that they've changed coaches and still yet the result hasn't turned around. I think their president, right, their coach, the FA president of Enyimba Football Club, Owakokwano, needs to do a lot when it comes to making sure that these things that are going wrong in the club actually amount to a change. I think Enyimba Football Club it's a big club, if not the biggest club in Nigerian football. I think over the years they've shown their worth, they've proven themselves both home and away on the continent. I think Enyimba is still the last club to win a continental trophy for Nigeria. So for me, I think knowing fully well that they won the MPFL some couple of seasons back with Coach Finidi George giving them that particular trophy. But so far this season they've struggled a lot, sitting 12th on the log with about 27 points and 0 goal difference. For me, I think it's nothing to write home about. Coach Stanley Guma needs to find a way and to sort these issues that Enyimba Football Club are actually having, and make sure there's a change and they can move on from this. I think Enyimba Football Club are meant to be competing at the end from of making sure they compete and they making sure they qualify for continental places like the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup. But for now, they still sit on 12th on the log, and if they continue like this, I don't see them going to the continental places.
A struggling time for the People's Elephant, talking about Enyimba of Aba, as it's been a very terrible start to the season for them. This is the second stanza of the Nigerian Premier Football League 2025-2026 season, and Enyimba are still trying to find their rhythm. As a result, it seems to be very difficult for them to achieve a positive result. But then I'll just wish them well and hope that they can find a lasting solution to all of the struggle that they've been through so far this season. Away from that, the Nigerian Premier Football League has dropped to 91st position in the 2025 International Federations of Football History and Statistics Global League rankings, falling from 76th place in 2024 with a total point of 171.75% points. To the Nigerian Premier Football League now sit outside the top 90 leagues in the world, reflecting a decline in performance compared to other domestic leagues across different continents. The rankings is based on clubs' performances in domestics, continental, and of course international competition, with a greater height given to results achieved beyond regional tournaments. Globally, European leagues maintain dominance, occupying 12 of the 20 spots and 29 of the top 50. The English Premier League was ranked the strongest league in the world for the 6th time since the ranking began in 1991. Spain's La Liga placed second, followed by Brazil's Serie A in third. Italy's Serie A slipped slightly but remained ahead of German's Bundesliga, while France Ligue 1 moved up to 6th place. Portugal, Argentina, and the Netherlands and Colombia also featured prominently in the top 10. So this ranking has further shown that the Nigerian Premier Football League, instead of improving, is rather declining. Last year's ranking was 76th, but this year they have dropped down the pecking order to 91st, about 15% disparity. This is what we call cataclysmic fall, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think this is a drastic setback when it comes to our football over here in the country. I think moving from the 75th place to the 91st place, for me, I think it's very, very, very disappointing. I think the MPFL board of directors needs to find a way to make sure that our football starts improving instead of declining. Over the years, we've been declining drastically. We've not had a massive growth and change in the league, even due to the fact that there's not been a lot of money put into the league. Because I feel like before a league grows, investors need to come into the league, and a lot of money needs to be put into the league to make sure that there's a growth in the league. So far, I really don't know the amount of investors that have invested so far into the league, because the league is not on TV. There's a lot of wrongdoings in the league. Fans violence and the rest of them, improper officiating. There's a lot of worries so far for our league. So I'm not really surprised that we've been placed 91st in the world. So I even feel like we might even go down the pedal if we continue like this. So yeah, I think going forward we need to make a change. There needs to be a drastic change. If not, I think our league will continue to be declining.
drastic change urgently needed for the Nigerian Premier Football League so that we can improve in our rankings. Globally, we are ranked 91st, meaning that we've dropped 15 places compared to the last rankings of last time out, where the Nigerian Premier Football League was ranked 76th in the world. But then, this latest ranking has further shown that the league is gradually declining instead of progressing. We are retrogressing, and this calls for worry. Even in Africa, we are not moving as well, and it is not a good one for the Nigerian Premier Football League. A lot needs to be done if we truly must get to the apex of world football, where our league will be rated among the best, not just in Africa, but globally. All right, let's talk about the CAF Champions League because Rivers United played out a 0-0 draw against Power Dynamos FC in their CAF Champions League Group A match at the Levi Wanasa Stadium on Saturday. The result means Rivers United got their first point in the group stage, and thanks largely to their goalkeeper Osage, who pulled some key saves to keep the home side at bay. And they went away with a very valuable point. Miracle 2 games before that game against Power Dynamos, and Finidi George side lost all 2. First to the South African club, were beaten 3-0. In their second game back here in Uyo, they were leading 1-0 up to 90 minutes. Just added time of 5 minutes. Rivers United crumbled to RS Bekene, as RS Bekene not just equalized in the 90 plus something minutes, but scored within the last minute of play to take all 3 points back here home. And this is their third game away from home. They managed to pick a point. The return leg comes back here in Uye. Do you see Rivers United, still progressing through with what seems to be a very cagey, standing for them?
For me, I think it's been disappointing, very, very disappointing so far from Rivers United.
Just 1 point.
Just 1 point from a possible 9 points. Finidi George made a comment in his post-match interview that they're actually a better team when they play at home, but he lost the game at home. So I don't really think so. I think the loss against RS Bekene was the most disappointing. You concede 2 goals under 1 minute in the 97th minute. For me, I think it was very, very disappointing. You had all it takes to win that particular game yesterday, even against Power Dynamos. I think they didn't go into that game with the mentality of winning. They just wanted to go there and get a point for themselves, which I think is very, very bad. You had all the taken for you to go there and win. At least you would have gotten maximum 3 points, and coming back at home, it gives you an edge to get another maximum 3 points, which actually gives you an advantage on the log. So for me, I think if Rivers United continue like this, I don't see them qualifying to the knockout stages of this competition.
Very terrible start so far for Rivers United in the continent. Out of a possible 9 points, they've just managed to pick 1 out of 9 points. Lost 2 of their first 3 games and draw 1. The next game will be back here in Uyo, where they will be hoping to take all 3 points against this same Power Dynamo. Can they do it? Only time will tell. We'll just wait and hope that Finidi George and his men can judge right in the game against the Power Dynamos back here in Akwa Ibom State, Uyo to be precise. But at this point, we'll take a quick break. When we are back in the second half, we'll dive straight to Europe, we'll bring you all the results of the English Premier League and some of the key talking points in that blockbuster clash between Arsenal and Manchester United. Then we'll go over to other leagues, the Italian Serie A, the Bundesliga, and of course the Ligue 1 to serve you some of the results that also popped up over the weekend. But for now, stick with us because we'll be back in a jiffy.